Hello friends and welcome back to MDG Media. We are continuing this round one coverage of the 2025 World Championships hosted here in both Nokia and Tampere, Finland. This is the biggest stage here of not only the year but potentially in disc golf history. This is Back 9's second feature card coverage. I'm Connor Wood and with me, top water drinker, Mr. Elias Luukkonen.
What's up, Connor? What's up, viewers? And welcome to the World Championships, already a legendary event, first one ever held outside of the North America. And boy, what an event we have. Jussi Meresmaa and his team putting on an absolute show. And our players on the lead card, more specifically Väinö, Mäkelä, putting on a show on this front nine. 8 under, consecutively birding 8 of the first 8 holes. It's pretty good stuff, I'd say.
Certainly one of the hottest starts you can have at a major, in particular a World Championship. We move to the back nine, which has slightly harder holes, but nevertheless it's attackable. We kick it off here, hole number 10, the slightly elevated tee pad we just flew over. Players will be prompted to throw between these two large trees with a straight to left ending shot, avoiding the OB left the entire way, as well as the OB long. The fairway doglegs left 90 degrees and continues to narrow into this funnel with a left to right slope. You see these late hay bales are available to stop any sort of roll away, as well as the fence both long and to the left, marking the OB lines. Players are most often attacking this hole with 2 backhand hyzers.
And talking about attacking, 57% of the field were able to attack this hole for birdie and be successful with it. And Gannon looking to add his name into that percentage. And he actually has a good opportunity. That is more of the safe shot on this hole. You can see some players going for more of a glidey hyzer, trying to get around the corner. But I'd say the modern play on this one is aim at the right side tree, fade just in front of it, take your 110 meter hyzer to the green and walk away happy with a birdie putt.
Anywhere near that dry grass is the indicator of a good drive, leaving you in position. Väinö, a little bit more of an aggressive line here, has to ensure he has the distance to clear the OB corner, and he does not. His near perfect start in jeopardy now. Going to be playing for par at best. We go to Mauri. Grass I was mentioning earlier, right there, exactly where he lands. That is the sweet spot, being both safe and effective enough to give you an effective look at the green.
Paul trying to go wide, needs to avoid some light poles and skip back over in bounds. Pretty big mistake, and really the mistake on the approach that you can't make. You can miss left, you can't even hit the fence on the left side of that left side football field, still stay in bounds and putting for birdie. Going right, not so good.
I completely agree with your assessment, Elias, of the right mistake to make. We see that from Mauri. It's also why a lot of players will throw this second shot with a lot of height, almost a complete spike hyzer, just to ensure significant leftwards movement. We saw Paul with more of a flat to straight looking hyzer. Gannon crashes the green and will shake the hands of the hay bales, say thank you for keeping me safe. We go to Väinö after the OB drive. This now to save par if he can put himself close.
Perfect line here. Looks like he's definitely going to be able to save that par. Assuming a C1 make there. Kind of an unfortunate result on the green. Though I really love the fact that you do have those hay bales, so that some of the luck factor of a rollaway is taken away. I feel like that's something that a lot of pros like about in course design, where if you have a green that does often roll away, you do want to have some sort of a stopper between the green and the OB. As Paul going to be getting up and down for a bogey. Väinö here for a par save.
You mentioned his fairly new putting style in the front nine, Elias. Much more up and down movement now than historically. He's been a very straight spin putter. Gannon takes the birdie, and the opportunity there given to him by the hay bales. Mauri as well. Short look now.
Good stuff there by the lead card on this relatively easy starting hole off the back nine. Even though this hole once again has been made longer in the years past. I believe this year it's the same exact length as last year in the European Open of 2024. Just trying to find a balance between difficulty and reachability for the modern pros, as hole number 11, 131 meters, gonna play as a huge hyzer. So anything right side of the path is gonna play OB, and even the path itself is OB. You need to get back safe before the path, hopefully fade over the pond. So where the drone is flying is not the traditional route. You want to fade left before the trees on the right side of the basket. And it's quite a specific gap that you have to hit. And if you miss the gap, sometimes you get through, but most of the times your disc gets dropped in the water or OB around the water. So this is potentially one of the big swing holes of the back nine. You can easily take a bogey or a birdie on this one.
Gannon going ultra high, ultra wide. And just does not beat the pond. Will find an OB stroke, but that is within putting distance, particularly for his range on the green. Mauri, a more traditional looking line, but perhaps a bit inside left. Flies over land the entire way, does not hit the traditional over the pond gap, but that is certainly fine. Really nice safe shot, whether it was intentional or not. We go to Väinö now.
Yeah, I think the high play, if you have the power, I think it's going to be the most consistent play. But Väinö getting an incredible result. A poor shot, a very bad early release there. You want to be much wider than that. But he's going to be putting from C2 for birdie. Let's see if Paul, having a rough start to his World Championships, only 2 under.
That rough start will continue to hole 11. He is OB to the left side. As we proceed, Väinö, our first of 2 birdie chances. Oh, and what an effort at that. We saw him drop to the knee to create the height available for him to be able to give it the run. Crashes out the left side. Gannon for par will take his first bogey of the tournament there on 11. Paul.
Beautiful par save there. This is a hole, if you go back to 2019, Paul actually made a huge putt from similar distance or even further to take the lead over Ricky Wysocki in that tournament, I believe, or extend his lead. You should go back to 2019 European Open coverage to see some epic moments down the final stretch. As our cards tapping in, not the hottest of stuff on this hole number 11. Mauri taking the only birdie on the card. The rest pars, even Gannon with that bogey there.
Players will move on to hole 12. This par 4 sits at 183 meters. You have a very specific gap here that you need to hit between both the left and right tree lines, the rising floor and the low ceiling of these branches. This window right here is what players would like to pierce and then move either forwards or ideally even out to the right. They're contending with this right to left sloping fairway the entire way. Many more trees, but the second half of the fairway offers much wider gaps as you then get into this green. You have a steep slope as well as a thick rough, no more than 5 meters left of the basket. As a result, players will try to land either to the right or short of it to ensure they don't bring that into play. It drops off very quickly. For a lot of these guys, it's either a forehand hyzer off the tee or a backhand roller. Also plays quite friendly for the shape of the slope. Mauri in a great position there. Pretty premium looking forehand drive.
Yeah, a lot of distance. I mean, usually the forehands just barely get over that ridge that Väinö is hopping on right now. The roller play, I like the flippy disc, but it still wasn't flippy enough with that right to left slope. Especially with the tee pad being slightly further back than in some of the previous years. This has been the tee position for the last couple years. Really have to play something super tight and understable with the roller. Same thing with the forehand. Paul actually getting a good kick, so he's gonna have a low ceiling but manageable approach from about 90 meters.
Gannon as well with the forehand, filters through very nicely despite not getting under the ceiling perfectly. A very good result. And Paul there. Interrupted for a weather delay here. Lightning is striking just a few kilometers from the course, and we picked it up about, I believe, 30 minutes later, as we see Paul throwing now, just to help you understand the context of that strange event there.
Yeah, that was the longest pre-shots routine Paul McBeth has probably ever had, 30 minutes for that. The little moment we saw on camera. Mauri, perfect position off the tee. Another great look at his touch sidearm game. And a lot of players would be happy, even willing to sell one of their kidneys to have that opportunity, throw such smooth forehands. Is Gannon going with something more stable? Not much of a flip-up guy himself. Still gotta be putting. Though on this hole, if you're putting from short right, you're actually not loving it, because long left, there's a big drop-off with a lot of thick bushes. So from the right side of the green, the putting is actually quite scary if you airball.
While I agree, there's not much room to be left of the green and on the flat, so it's really a matter of risk management. We go to Gannon from under the branches. Slips out the left side. He continues his putting struggles. Mauri, short downhill. And he played this hole perfectly. Great tee shot, great entrance into the green, cleans it up. He's putting together a string of birdies now on the back nine, tying Gannon with 6 under.
Yeah, everybody besides Paul really having a solid pace on this round overall. They know that they have to shoot double digits in order to be competitive for the lead card, even chase card positions.
Hey guys, quick break. We just dropped our brand new 2025 MDG Media Tour clothing collection, which is now available on our online shop. You will find fresh apparel and a full lineup of discs. If you like what we do, if you want to support the project, this is the best way. See you on the website and enjoy the video.
Moving on to another very scoreable hole, hole number 13. Similar distance as the last hole, and a similar tee shot in a way. You have a low ceiling control shot which requires a straight, perfectly straight finish or a right finish. So that would push a lot of players towards choosing a forehand, low thrown forehand driver off the tee. Low backhand can work if you're very touchy with it and good with height control. And really from a good 100-meter drive off the tee, you're gonna have a pretty simple approach to this green that is somewhat dangerous, but usually, even though the green is quite dangerous with the drop-off behind, a lot of the times the approach is so easy that you're gonna be inside of 7 meters and don't really have to worry about the drop-off.
Mauri slices through the gap like butter. Finds his way out in there. We'll have an open, likely hyzer look, whether he would like backhand or forehand. I think he went far enough straight. Both options around the late guardian will be available to him. Väinö. Hyzer release on the backhand, gets it turned over quickly into the roller. That same understable disc he's been relying on, and just like that, pierces through.
Creative play, and one that has been more popular in recent years. I believe maybe Eagle McMahon being one of the earlier players a few years back throwing that same shot. Paul with a perfect sidearm. Gannon to finish the perfect 4 drives on this hole.
And that could be considered, strangely enough, potentially the best result of the 4, given that it's the shortest distance into the green. We go now to Mauri's approach, opts for the left side entrance with the forehand hyzer. No surprise, and I actually like that he goes long here because he's now putting up the hill, much more stress-free than putting towards the drop-off. We go to Väinö. If you don't park it, you might as well go long here.
Yeah, very much agreed. You definitely want to land on the upper shelf, but if you skip down the hill, let it be. It's still an easy putt. As Paul going quite wide here, needs to come back. And he knows his disc. Good skip there at the end. The ground, I noticed, at least on the Tampere course, which we played today, and looking like it's the same case here, the ground is actually quite hard, despite some of the earlier rains that we had during the week. A lot of skips to be had on this hard-packed grass. So that's why you see a lot of players going for a lower shot instead of a more spiking shot here.
Mauri kicks off the putts with a nice birdie, that being the longest one. We have the chance to be looking at a potential star frame here for our feature card. Paul to clean up as well. And just like that, it's looking like they continue to forge their way below par and towards the coveted title of world champion. The scores in the clubhouse at this point, these guys being the second to last card, some high numbers, even up in the double digits, have been posted. If they're checking the scores, they're well aware of the pace they'll need. We move on. Hole 14, a tee pad which may seem familiar to you if you've watched previous coverage of this course, but a new pin location. You have this same gap to hit, but in previous history where the green bended out to the right at the end, it now bends off to the left. That means that it is much more commonly now a backhand flex compared to a forehand, and for the majority of players, it's about hitting that gap with a flat shot and fading at the end.
Yeah, not the easiest birdie here, only 33% of the field getting a birdie. But also not a very dangerous hole, so usually if you miss, you're gonna have either a long look or a very short approach. Talking about missing, Mauri Villmann not gonna be missing that putt for his 5th birdie in a row on this back nine.
He did miss the basket though, Elias. We'll see if he can catch it next time. Väinö shaping more of an Anheuser release here. Catches it nicely on the width as well. Perfect speed control. We see him just a few meters further than Mauri. Paul now.
Nice release angle. Needs to get around the trees. And he has done a good work there. That was close to being a bad spot. Just getting around the branches. And talking about missing the basket. This hole used to be aced almost consistently every year when the basket was out there to the right. Now slightly more difficult to actually put it chain high. I believe the shape of the hole makes it very difficult to go long, as you're going downhill with a bit of a low ceiling. Really hard to get it too high. As Paul McBeth, 2nd birdie in a row, getting back on track. He's not on the pace that you need to be if you want to become the 2025 world champion. But if he keeps this up, he can definitely do that in a couple of holes.
And given that it's a 5-round tournament, there's a lot more room for 1 or 2 suboptimal rounds, still giving you a chance to try and catch up to the field ahead of you. These putts looking like another cleanup here. A set of birdies for our feature card, cleaning up both holes 13 and 14. Some great precision on display.
Now moving on to the famous last 4 holes of the beast, starting off with arguably, and not even arguably, but statistically the most difficult one, hole 15. We're going downhill to a long distance of 145 meters, couple of different plays here. Some people going short for an easy par layup. That's not likely going to be what we see from our card today. Second most common play, or the most common play here, is a straight to slightly overstable fairway driver thrown towards the right side bushes and fading just in front of the basket. So you need to fade left before the bushes in order to avoid the OB. Very common to see those slightly late fading shots hit the bush on that right side of the gap and dropping OB in between the green and the fairway.
Mauri bleeding a little bit left, but it hangs on. That lush grass catching him nicely, as well as the elevated tee pad. You see less skips than a flat hole might offer you as the disc is moving downwards. We go to Väinö, looking to match a similar line. You could potentially push the right side a little bit more. This seems inversely more to the left, but also hangs on safe to the green. Both of them will be very happy to see green flags there.
Yeah, Väinö, I believe, with a pretty fortunate break of hitting the left side tree. So if he didn't hit the left side tree, he would be OB left. Talking about OB left, Paul, I think he found the short OB left corner there. Pretty errant early release. And from there, it's actually not a guaranteed up and down from bogey. So he really has to work. Gannon going for the big shot here. I was interested to see if somebody was going for this. Yeah. It's a huge hyzer, needs to get over the last bushes. And he has done it. Beautiful shot. If you have the power, I think that's definitely the play.
I would say so few people have that power, but great example there by Gannon of how this hole can be simplified through raw power. A one angle mega hyzer. Paul doing the work that needs to be done from his initial OB. We've seen a few slips from him now throughout the day. He looks down at his feet. He seems very displeased with his footing and balance. We go to Väinö for birdie. On the elevated, we saw a lot of loft to that putt and his new style, keeping it close. Mauri, a similar chance now.
We're not going to see the similar loft on this one, as Mauri putting it pretty direct. Maybe still not the hardest of putts coming out of his hand. Still not trying to really float it, rather just put it straight towards the middle and pull here. For bogey on the elevated basket. He's going to be good. And while that is going to be a frustrating bogey, important to clean those putts up. As you mentioned, 5 rounds. One single bogey is going to hurt you less than in a regular tournament. Of course, inversely, a one birdie will also help you less than in a regular tournament. As we still have 75 holes left after this one. A full tournament, even a tournament and a half left to play after this hole.
As a result, you'll often see players play more safely in decision-making and in execution when the pressure on them is not to make big moves. As we get further down the week, we are likely going to see more risks be taken in these critical moments where they are between two choices. Here today, just kick off your tournament in a meaningful, comfortable way that leaves you with a good mindset going into the remaining 4 days. It is a long grind ahead of them.
We are here. We are one. We will fight. We will fall. We will prevail. From the fjords of Norway to the shores of Spain, from the fire of Iceland to the hope of Ukraine, 30 countries, one voice. Go Europe.
Here we are, hole 16. This par 4 known as one of the most treacherous holes, not only on the beast, but even in the world. Positioned at the end of the round with only 3 holes left to go, this is a make or break scenario. Players have a hyzer into a positional shot that leaves them with 2 choices. Another layup to this right side peninsula, or to try and cross to the island green on their second if they would like to birdie. This island green requires you to stick it, otherwise you throw with a penalty stroke from the short side. There is no inbounds crossing rule up on the island. You are required to hit it, and you will rethrow until you do so. For that reason, it has the potential to be a huge blow-up hole or a place that you can get many strokes on the field. An absolute stunning separator of a hole.
Yeah, this might be the statistically most interesting hole I have ever commentated on. I mean, it's the second most difficult hole on the course. It also has the second highest birdie rate on the course. And it's so unique to find a hole like this. Both of our guys, Mauri and Gannon, both are in perfect position, but they can take a number between 3 as what they're going for, as going for the birdie, or even up to double digits. This hole can really ruin a round, even ruin a tournament.
We've seen it happen before. We may see it happen again this week. It's an incredibly polarizing hole by public opinion. People either love it or hate it. It's very rare someone will have a neutral opinion here, given its potential to ruin an entire tournament in a single hole. We go to Paul, looking to hit the island. He goes high, he goes wide. This is a matter of width and speed control. He has stuck it, giving him a birdie putt here on 16. Immaculate.
That is a huge relief. A huge relief off the shoulders of the player. Mauri looking to do the same. Backhand approach plays really nice against the hill, and he has done it. Perfect speed control. And the thing is, with this hole, the island really isn't that small. It's not so small for how easy this approach is. Väinö here, 90-meter hyzer. I mean, these players, they can throw a 90-meter hyzer in their dreams, but Väinö has gone long, so now he will have to go to the edge of the inbounds area and try again from there.
We go to Gannon, looking for the forehand. Going to likely be spiking the driver in. We see the height, we see the overstability kick in. Almost digs it, incredible. Parks the hole, leaving only Väinö now to make his way into the green. With every throw you miss here, the more frantic you feel as a player and the less optimal discs you have available for you to throw this shot. Väinö, second attempt. Looks great, but it's not enough to stick it. His second shot that lands inbounds and skips out of bounds, he will throw again.
Now this is Väinö's 6th shot, so only missing 2 shots is already essentially putting for double bogey, and now gonna be throwing 8.
He looks to make the correction after going long twice, comes up short on the 3rd. The 4th attempt now looks much nicer. It's higher, it's wider, it's spiking, and it is in. But in that 30 seconds of footage which you just saw, Väinö received 6 or 7 strokes to his scorecard. Insane.
That can happen so easily. I mean, we saw Anthony Barella lose the chance to win his first major on this very hole. He took, I believe, an 8 while leading the tournament. Yeah, Väinö, you know, 9 on this hole, it's bad, it feels terrible. We don't even have a graphic for 5 over. But that's nowhere near the worst. We had multiple double-digit scores on this hole in MPO today.
And keep in mind, these are the best players in the world taking these scores. For that reason, a highly controversial hole. Elias, break down 17 for us.
Yeah, 17, more of a traditional difficult hole. So I'd say the birdie on this hole is much more difficult than on hole number 16, but you don't really have that sort of blow-up potential here. The drive is extremely difficult if you don't happen to have a 140 meters flat to hyzer forehand, which if you do, good for you, you're gonna be inside the circle most of the times on this hole. But if you have to play a flip-up backhand, fading with the hillside, I mean, good luck. It's probably one of the most technical shots you can find on this course.
Gannon, no stranger to power, no stranger to one-angle hyzers. Plays left, has a good width here, a good speed, a little bit shy. We saw that never really get up to flat, but well within striking distance, particularly for the newly crowned world putting champion, Mr. Gannon Buhr. We go now to Mauri. I would expect a very similar shot. We may see a little bit more flip up compared to Gannon's. Mauri tends to throw slightly more understable discs than other players on the forehand, but a very similar shot and a very similar landing, slightly longer putt for him.
Yeah, even both of those players being some of the further throwing forehand players on the planet and still ending up short. Part of the problem on this hole that makes this forehand play so long is that those trees on the left side, they grow every year. So every year you have to go higher if you still try to get over those trees. So maybe 3, 4, 5 years back, the forehand was playing much shorter. That's why you see all of our even strong forehand players land short.
And for the backhand, you certainly want to play to the right side. Väinö does stick it. He is very close to that OB line, but gets the green. You play the right side because, of course, your left fading shot will work with the slope rather than against it. OB can come into play so quickly, and normally your turnover can even cut roll or funnel naturally to the left with what would otherwise be a straight shot on a flat fairway. He does what needs to be done there to secure his par. Won't have the bounce back birdie after hole 16, but likely stopping the damage. We see Paul from deep.
A big miss. That can even end up OB, but I believe he did stop inbounds. And for that reason, Gannon going with a conservative run. I like the angle. Not really committed to making it, but with that Anheuser angle, you can really remove all of the chance of going OB left. As Paul makes a good comebacker. A lot of pars to be seen on this hole number 17, as 67% of the field is getting a par. And with the field, obviously talking about the top 100 players playing this course today, bottom 100 players playing the other course today.
Quite convenient. The player pool is exactly 100. Our percentages today could also be said as just whole units. Could be measurements of the exact number of players who found any given score. And just like that, no birdies found here on 17 for our second feature card. They join the majority of the field. You mentioned Elias taking the pars.
Moving on to the final hole, hole number 18. Once again, a legendary finishing hole. Remember, Paul McBeth himself called this the video game hole and his favorite hole of all time. 213 meters. This hole hasn't really changed from the years past. The only thing different is the trees are growing, and now we have a bunch of white houses on the right side of the fairway. Of course, a lot of the spectator tents, the commentary tent even, which we are not in right now as the live commentators have occupied it for the day. Yeah, this hole, you really need to put it inbounds off the tee. It's going to be a straight shot, maybe a forehand hyzer if you want to play it super short and safe. And then the approach. It's a basic hyzer, but you have to be very precise, with OB being possibly even inside the bullseye on the short side of the basket.
Certainly the forehand hyzer into backhand hyzer combination plays nicely. We see the rains begin to fall now. The weather here in Nokia, back and forth throughout the day, on and off thunderstorms, on and off rainstorms, all temperatures between around 15 up to almost 26 degrees Celsius. Mauri, a surprising error, does not give the width. Could be because of the rain. A slightly compromised grip will often lead to an early release with a wet hand or wet disc. We go to Paul shaping the backhand. He will play over the coniferous trees on the right. These pines marking the point that he needs to swing back to the left before. And just like that, great execution of the backhand. He may have a difficult decision regarding that tree, which side of it he would like to go. I think despite a good shot and execution, he has an unfortunate landing zone.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty common actually. If you go for a long backhand on this hole, it can be difficult to control the distance in a way where you're in the open. Compared to Väinö there, and also Gannon and Mauri, what he was trying to do with the forehand is that if you land somewhere around here, you can see that there are no trees in the way. But Mauri, while no trees are in the way, he does have to contend with that commentary building on the right side, forcing him to play pretty safe. This is not a play for the basket, this is just a play for the fairway, trying to get up and down for a bogey, which he will inevitably do. Gonna be a disappointing finish, but still a solid 8 under round after he makes that bogey.
Which is contending around the top 10 for this pool who played this course. We go Väinö A beautiful flip up with the late fade. He brings it in a touch long. May have to straddle out of that bush, but will be in the circle. An opportunity for his birdie. We go to Gannon. We've seen this exact shot bring Gannon great wins here before. Aims towards that ceremonial stage and in fact hits the ceremonial stage and comes back in bounds, Elias. Insane reaction there.
Wow, such an errant shot, but so lucky on the result. I mean, he's gonna take that, and of course it's a long event. It's gonna even out. Paul McBeth hitting the first thing in front of him. Gonna be OB. That's just a perfect summary, unfortunately, of how Paul McBeth's round was.
And a perfect summary of the fan experience, seeing the very best gather to compete on a course they know and love. Mauri here, opting for a fairly safe approach despite being on hyzer, was never really left of the basket near the OB. It was just in line with it. Paul, a long bit. I would expect to see him try to make this to recover some of the danger he found. Also going to be a disappointing, likely bogey finish for him here on 18 rather. We go to Gannon. We see his lie looking at the elevated.
And what a great bid. Very close to where Greg Barsby made a putt to push Paul McBeth to make his putt for the win a few years back. Väinö had a chance to make a bit of a bounce back after the +5 on hole number 16. There you go, Mauri 8 under. Our card, everybody getting under par, but both Paul and Väinö possibly much less under par than they would like.
Just like that, Väinö in for the par. Will end a 10.29 rated 5 under for this first round. Paul putting here to end at 3 under. Certainly not the performance he was looking to put together, known as the 6-time world champion. High expectations for both him and that man right there, Gannon Buhr, leading our second feature card at 10 under, unofficially rated at 10.66. That will be enough to leave him on the chase card again tomorrow, once again on the MDG coverage.
Yep, and some expected and unexpected faces there on the lead card. Sullivan Tipton, Adam Hammes, and also the local. Have to shout out the local Eetu Tuominen, a young player from Tampere area, gonna push the lead card on the next day. We're gonna be covering chase though, so come back for some more Gannon Buhr coverage if you like. Thank you guys for watching the round 1 of our chase card, and hope to see you later. Thank you, Connor, for doing commentary with me. We're gonna do this many times this week.
There is no doubt, and we will have you joining us hopefully just as many times. Make sure to stay tuned to find out who will be crowned your next 2025 World Champion. We'll see you there.